Getting some technical difficulties worked out. I think that looks good. We'll try from here.
All right.
So it is. This voice is Dalton,
I'm Cassie.
and we are the owners of Peerless Watercolor. We also just happen to be husband and wife. Aw. But we're gonna spend some time here and paint through our not our most recent tutorial on YouTube, but the one I've been meaning to get to, which is the Foggy Fall mountain forest landscape.
We're going to have a little date night.
So you're going to be hearing our disembodied voices along with Katie's when we watch the tutorial, and our for instruction, of course. And I'm still kind of getting the camera thing settled, so you might see some tinkering there too. But here we go.
Today, so it's going to be the red golden hair because I absolutely love.
Looks like I get the whole page of it.
To like a almost burnt orange. I think it's so pretty. And for these fall trees that are at the bottom of this painting that we're doing, I feel like they look so pretty. And then the other color is just black. So pretty simple. You're going to fill up your entire page with water, and then you're going to mix a little bit of water in a dish with just a hint of the black, and then further at the top is going to be more water and less paint and a lighter gray, and then as you're going down, kind of give it some areas with the darker gray, and this is going to be semi.
Okay. So we wet our,
I'm
we wet
already
our page.
behind.
And we're going to use Autumn's Indigo because we feel like it. And
I've got black.
Oh, well, never mind. Cass is going to use black.
I brought my own.
But I'm going to use Autumn's Indigo. I think I put too much water on my paper, but... I don't know if we can see comments live. Oh, here we go. Maybe. Who knows? Okay, we're gonna keep going.
Outlines, but mostly just kind of giving us that that fog, like that dense fog on the misty mountains. And so some of them will be tree lines, but mostly fog. So you do want the page to be relatively wet because you don't want any brush strokes, and you want there to be a soft, even blend and kind of that that really pretty softness. So now we're going to do some vertical lines, and these are going to be kind of where you want your tree lines to be,
Yours is looking way better than mine so far.
or if you would like some that are in like trees that are visible through the fog, but they're not clear enough that you can see actual branches.
Okay.
So imagine it that way. The way that I am doing it is I'm just doing vertical lines with most paint. I'm starting on the bottom, and then by the time most of the paint is gone and is lighter gray, those are the ones that I'm going to be doing further away, and you can kind of just gauge whether it's light or dark. Most of the darker ones want to be closer to the bottom. The lighter ones want to be further away, so they'll be more towards the top of the paper. And yeah, again, they can be where you want your outlines to be of your trees, or trees that are in deeper of the fog that you just see like a slight silhouette, but you don't see individual branches.
It's always hard to believe that it'll like look like
So we're
something,
going
but
to
then it
add
does.
our
It like works out.
It's a little, yeah.
foliage trees down at the bottom of our painting. And so the painting's still pretty wet at this point. Like you can see those vertical lines, they're very soft in all of our fog areas. So you can see once I put down these, I'm just doing pretty much drops, but they're kind of fanning out into those snowflake patterns. That just depends on how wet your paper is.
So the red golden hair is kind of going in.
Them to kind of fan out enough and kind of eat away at that black color. So that's why I wanted to make sure that they are going in when the paper is wet enough. And then you can see too, like how yellow and pretty it is, but then you put another dot in the center of that, and you get more of that burnt orange in them. I think the red golden hair is probably my favorite orange out of all of Fearless. I think it's like the prettiest color. I love this color. So now we are going to be working in doing our individual trees. So the best way that I have found to do this is whatever range that we're going for.
Yeah,
So
can
think
you
about
pause? Are you just putting them wherever?
Yeah, kind of. I'm gonna kind of turn in green though because I guess that's how colors work. So we're kind of using the red golden hair directly from the sheet, if you can see that on film or on camera, just because we want it a little more pigmented than the wash of the blue or the black. Okay, so I guess we're going to start on to the actual trees.
the top of your painting, we're going to do the lightest. The mid painting is going to be like a darker gray, and then the closest ones on the bottom are going to be almost black silhouettes. But then when you're working on these middle and
We might have to let it dry a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
think so.
because it's in fog, is that you start out with a very dark or gray and do your whole outline of a tree, and then as the paint is still wet, use a paper towel and dab off the bottom half of the painting of that tree that you're working on, and then you get a kind of gradient fade between light to dark. So you can kind of see how I'm doing it here, and you just get that like super, super gentle silhouette. And then I go back and add just another drop of darker paint on the very tip of each tree, so that that tip of the tree has the darkest silhouette, and then by the time it's into the fog, it's almost like it's.
So this is where my toilet paper comes in handy.
You can hint it, you can see some of the trees and some of the branches, but you get that idea that the fog is like so dense around it that it's covering it up now.
I'm going to make my wash a little darker.
Just need to be patient and let mine dry.
Yeah, I think I put a little too much water on mine too. I wish I could figure out how to see the comments live if you go, or maybe you guys just aren't leaving comments. But I'll definitely have to look into that for the next time. This is the first time we've tried doing a YouTube live. We've done an Instagram once before, but this is the first time here. And you could probably use a hair dryer or something to make this dry a little quicker, at least for that from that first stage. But this is all in all, it's a pretty short tutorial. I think it's only like 15 minutes long, at least the instruction part of it. Oh look, we got 2 thumbs up.
Yay!
Thumbs up to you too, pals.
So now that we've done most of the lighter silhouettes and that was kind of really soft gradients, we are going to come back again, and now we are going to be doing the middle and bottom layers of the trees in a much darker gray to black, and you can still work that kind of gradient, but you do want them to be a little bit more bold and a little bit closer, so a little bit bigger trees, and you'll get that depth perception starting to happen. And then also that little artist's trick, if you squint your eyes when you're looking at it, and you can see like the depth and like the further away it's a little bit smaller and then closer. Sometimes it's easier to see if it's working if you squint your eyes too. So I definitely recommend trying that. But yeah, in the same way, working around the painting. And then what I did notice that I like this one better in this one than my first two paintings of this is that I did some darker silhouettes closer to my lighter silhouettes too. I just made them kind of like off center from each other, so like that little tree is a little bit closer, but still relatively the same size. I feel like it kind of gives it a little bit more detail and more realistic with the trees kind of layering each other.
I guess I can see if mine is dry enough yet. Oh, see? You laughed at the toilet paper.
Just gonna pass it off as paper towel.
I cannot get a handle on these fir trees.
So we are almost to the end, and this last little step I actually feel like makes a big difference, at least in the first two of mine and then into this one. So what we're going to do is take our gray or our black and make it very, very, very light. So think almost translucent gray wash, and we're going to rehydrate the bottom quarter of each tree, or maybe not every tree, but like every other. And it's just going to rehydrate those bottom branches and then soften the blend between the branches into those already kind of like graded effect that we have into the fog, the dense fog. So just make it a little bit softer blend between each of them, and I feel like it just makes it just a little bit. It was just a little extra that it needed to make it more realistic, and just I feel like the softness of the whole painting is what makes this one, and I think it's so pretty. So once you are done with that, you can kind of go around and see if there's any little pieces that you want to be darker or lighter. I definitely feel like it looks a little bit better darker around the trees on the bottom, just to kind of give you that, again, that depth perception. But basically personal preference, that's what I did. And yeah, so basically this is getting very close to our finished painting. So pretty simple tutorial. This
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty simple. Maybe the best tree I've done yet.
Beautiful.
happened to that one?
It's getting bigger and bigger. Should make the tops of them darker, right?
Yep. Then there was something about like rehydrating some part of it.
Might go back and listen to that again. I'm just laughing at mine.
Little tree. This is definitely my interpretation of a forest.
I like the blue.
Oh, thanks. I feel like all my trees look like the trees from the Grinch.
I think I just found my tree style.
It looks like the Hunter S. Thompson, whoever that illustrator was. Looks like that. I like this tree.
It looks like it just woke
I
up
like
from a
the
very
tree.
long nap. I should just keep making that one a bigger blob. could definitely see where you could fine tune this.
Yeah, this is definitely
all
a
day.
good practice run.
Good stress relief.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go back and listen to what you talked about rehydrating the whatever's.
Into those already kind of like graded effect that we have into the fog, the dense fog. So just makes it a little bit softer blend between each of what we're going to do is take our gray or our black and make it very, very, very light. So think almost translucent gray wash. And we are going to rehydrate the bottom quarter of each tree, or maybe not each, every tree, but like every other. And it's just going to rehydrate those bottom branches and then soften the blend between the branches into those already kind of like graded effect that we have into the fog, the dense fog. So just makes it a little bit softer blend between each of them. And I feel like it just makes it just a little bit. It was just a little extra that it needed to make it more realistic, and just I feel like the softness of the whole painting is what makes this one, and I think it's so pretty. So once you are done with that, you can kind of go around and see if there's any little pieces that you want to be darker or lighter. I definitely feel like it looks a little bit better darker around the trees on the bottom, just to kind of give you that, again, that depth perception. But basically personal preference, that's what I did. And yeah, so basically this is getting very close to our finished painting. So pretty simple tutorial this time. But yeah, I will check back in a minute when it is finished.
Before I overwork this into oblivion, I'm gonna call it quits. Definitely a good first run of this tutorial. Yeah, because it's been 25 minutes already, and it
What?
does not feel like it.
Definitely not.
All right, so now you get to vote whose is better. If you vote for mine, you get a 25% off discount at the store. If you vote for Cassie's, you get to pay full price.
That's not fair.
I'm gonna pull this off before it's dry, as is tradition.
So I'm just adding the finishing touches of the darkest bits of the tree.
We know, Katie. Don't worry. Somewhere in the world, an artist is freaking out at me pulling this tape off before this piece is dry. And if that artist is you, I don't want to hear it. That's pretty awesome what you can do with just 2 colors. Or even just 1 color with watercolors. Are you sure you want to pull those off before that piece is dry?
No. But I want to see it. Oops.
45-degree angle. 45-degree angle.
It's going to stick onto yours. Yay.
I say we did. Not half bad.
Awesome. Good job.
Okay, thanks, guys. We will see you probably sometime during the week on this, or we're gonna go back and forth between Instagram and YouTube, just to see how the audiences react differently and which platform we enjoy better. So it is a competition, and we'll see you guys.
Competition between us two or between YouTube and Instagram?
YouTube and Instagram.
Okay. I was like, oh no.
But we will see. Hope you have a good rest of your Sunday night.